Let's talk about the next president of Iran. Iranians will go to the polls on the 18th of June to replace President Hassan Rouhani after 8 years. There are 7 candidates, but many people believe the election is stacked in favor of one man.
Ebrahim Raisi is seen to be sort of a shoo-in for president.
Lots of Iranians are asking if it's even worth voting.
همه چی گرون شده، کرایه‌ها گرون، ارزاقی که می‌خوای بخری گرون، مرغ گرون، گوشت گرون. به کی رأی بدیم؟ به کی میشه اعتماد کرد که رأی بدیم؟
So why do some people think this election is already a done deal? Who is Ebrahim Raisi? And how much power does Iran's president have anyway? Iran is an Islamic republic that has different layers of power. It means the president isn't fully in charge.
The best definition of how Iran works is a mix of Islamic component and a mix of Republican component.
The ultimate authority in Iran is the supreme leader. And since 1989, that's been Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He oversees foreign policy and controls powerful institutions like the judiciary, state media, and special forces known as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The supreme leader is appointed by a group called the Assembly of Experts, as in experts in Islamic law. It's got 88 members who are elected every 8 years. Then there's the elected president who leads the government. He sets Iran's economic direction and works with the supreme leader on domestic and foreign policy. There's also an elected parliament that drafts laws. At the end of the day, though, the supreme leader can effectively overrule all big decisions. And when it comes to elections, there's another important institution involved, the Guardian Council.
The ultra-conservative Guardian Council makes decisions on who can run and who cannot run.
The system tries to cull through a very long list and put forward candidates that sort of suit their credentials.
That means Iranian voters can only choose from a pre-approved list of candidates. And this year, out of almost 600 people who applied to run for president, only 7 made the cut. Now, in the last few presidential elections, Iranians have had a clear choice between a conservative and a reformist. But this year, it's different. The Guardian Council hasn't approved any reformist candidates that look like they have a realistic chance of winning.
In the eyes of many, many Iranians, this is, far from being an election, it is a selection.
So who are the 7 candidates? Well, among them, there's Saeed Jalili. He's a senior figure in the hardline conservative camp and was Iran's chief nuclear negotiator under President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. There's the former head of Iran's central bank, Abdel Nasser Hemati. He's seen as a moderate candidate, and so is Mohsen Meralizadeh, who's standing as an independent. But the man most people are talking about is Ebrahim Raisi. He's widely seen as the front runner.
Raisi has the most name recognition, putting him far ahead of the other candidates that are not as well known, not as charismatic, and don't have the backing of the conservative factions, if not the supreme leader.
So who is Ebrahim Raisi? He's a hardline Islamic cleric who rose through the ranks as a prosecutor and judge. He ran in the last election and lost to Rouhani, but he got 38% of the vote, which helped to put him on the political map. For the last 2 years, he's been head of the judiciary and is now being talked about as a potential successor to the supreme leader. In terms of policy, Raisi says he wants to develop the domestic economy and improve relations with countries like China and Russia. It's to help reduce the impact of Western sanctions. He's also styled himself as a man of the people.
من خود را رقیب فساد، ناکارآمدی و اشرافیگری می‌دانم. صداشون در آمده از ناکارآمدی‌ها، از ظلم، از فقر، از تبعیض. از بسیاری از بسترهای فساد.
He is trying to present himself as a populist, someone who has not enriched himself as a result of his close relationships.
But he's also got some serious allegations hanging over him, linked to the mass execution of political prisoners in 1988. Raisi is accused of being a member of what was called a death commission in Tehran while he was deputy prosecutor general.
This is why he is also called the blood judge.
Now, there's one issue that's really dominating this election, and that's the economy. Times are tough for people in Iran, especially since 2018. That's when the US reimposed sanctions after President Trump pulled the Americans out of an international deal to monitor Iran's nuclear program. In April of this year, inflation hit 50%. People are struggling to buy even the basics. Unemployment is also high, and COVID-19 has made things tougher.
After these past 4 years of very debilitating sanctions, but also a number of decades of sanctions, I think that the Iranian public is looking for economic stability and economic security.
Now, a big factor for the economy is going to be whether US sanctions are lifted, and that depends on whether they can restore the nuclear deal. With President Joe Biden in the White House, the Americans and Iranians are back at the negotiating table. But it's hard to say what might happen if they don't reach a deal before President Rouhani leaves office in August.
The Biden administration will deal with whomever is in power in Iran, and it looks like this deal will be restored. Implementation will be tricky, but I think the Biden administration will provide for enough sanctions relief so as to give the next administration in Iran a leg up.
Okay, but right now the big question in Iran is just how many people are going to turn up to vote? Last year's parliamentary election had the lowest turnout since the Islamic Revolution in 1979, and a recent poll found that only around 38% of respondents said they'll definitely vote in the presidential election.
ببینید من واقعیت برای رأی دادن فعلا مرددم. تکلیفم مشخص نیست. نمیدونم که اصلا رأی بدم ندم یا به چه کسی رأی بدم.
امسال به نظر من یکسو شده.
اگر رأی ترجیح میدم رأی ندم تا اینکه یه اشتباه غلط داشته باشم.
This current trend of apathy that we're witnessing today in the country is, I think, a reflection of the realization that people see that they don't actually have an impact.
For Iran's leaders, that's not a good look, and the supreme leader has urged people to come out and vote. Turnout says a lot about how much people trust the system, but right now, it looks like a lot of Iranians plan on staying at home. We'll have more coverage before and after the Iranian elections on our website, aljazeera.com. And you can find more episodes of this show on YouTube and social media. Just search for Start Here Al Jazeera. See you next week.